It's good news. The national state of disaster is officially over after more than 700 days. The president making that announcement yesterday as well. So what are South Africans saying about all of this? Let's find out from Nqobile Madlala. Good morning to you, Nqobile. And I want to pick up on this, and you can speak to your guest about it. You're wearing a mask, quite rightly, because currently you are inside. If you were outside, you wouldn't have to. But this is where we need to try and get clarity, don't we?
Yes, that's right, Gareth. I mean, a lot of people have been asking, if you look at social media, then what does it mean if we're still carrying on with the mask? But of course, we heard from the president that this is also part of ensuring that we are safe. You are playing your part as well, ensuring that the next person is safe, because he said we're not exactly out of the pandemic yet, but we are at this point, and together we have worked together to ensure that the numbers are dropping. I mean, we saw from the numbers that he was talking about the beds in hospital and all sort of things, and how it has changed from the time that we started. But Gareth, I want to bring in restaurant owner Chad Paul, who would know better how this has affected business and his customers. Chad, what does it mean for you to see the president uplifting that national state of disaster?
Thanks. So I think for us, we've definitely in the last couple of weeks seen a rise in people coming through. The lifting of the state of disaster really does mean that subconsciously people are going to start coming out. People are going to be traveling back up to Gauteng. We're going to get the international tourists. And as I said, actually the last 2 weekends have been our best weekends so far. And we've actually opened up those weekends, hours longer in anticipation for this. So it definitely means that people are coming out. I mean, you can see this morning we've got quite a bubbly crowd here, and I think everyone's spirits are just lifted. So people are coming out, people are looking on the fun side of things and are spending a bit of money, thank God.
And of course, even though a lot has changed, a lot hasn't changed, you still need to have people wearing their masks. Is this going to hinder in any way in terms of your work?
I think for us being in the food and beverage industry, it hasn't really hindered the way we operate. In fact, I prefer the fact that we're all used to wearing masks. I think we prefer it. It looks cleaner, it looks more clinical, it feels more clinical. Patrons take their masks off when they sit down, so that sort of hasn't changed. But personally, I think it's going to take a while for us to kind of get used to not wearing masks when it eventually happens. But it hasn't really changed how we operate and how people come in. In the beginning, it was an issue. People were a bit, afraid to come in. We had a lot of older people that wouldn't sit inside, but now that it's subsided quite a bit.
And let's talk about work, because I mean, a lot of restaurants ended up shutting their doors earlier on because of what was happening with regards to COVID. You're one of those people that was lucky enough to keep your doors open and even opening another restaurant. But does this mean then that there will be more work going forward now that we're seeing the country opening up?
Definitely. So, it hasn't been all great. We have kind of carried a bit of debt to carry our staff's salaries. A lot of people have, we haven't, terminated anyone's contracts, but we've had to kind of reduce hours. Our trading hours were a lot shorter on weekends. And as I said, actually the last 2 weekends we've kind of pushed those trading hours up to afford our team, more potential to earn. And with us opening up for longer as well, we will obviously look at employing or bringing back some of the staff that did decide to leave. But it definitely does offer our staff and team an opportunity for more hours in terms of more earning.
And what does that mean as a restaurant owner for you? Does that mean that there's more opportunity for you to expand as well?
Definitely. So obviously we haven't made any profits per se in the last 2 years. We've basically been carrying it. Thankfully, we've been able to carry it. But that does mean that we can look at expanding. In fact, we are actually looking at franchising Morning Glory, and we're talking to a couple of guys, and there are a lot of young people who are quite keen to kind of stimulate this sphere of the economy in that sense by helping us expand our brand.
All right. Thank you very much.
Cool, thank you.
Chat Paul there, speaking to us. So, Gareth, as you can hear there, so as much as we are hearing the change in the country, there is the change in the business sector as well. Chad saying that there are even opportunities of more work. I mean, a lot of people have been asking about that in terms of work, what happens now? Because a lot of people had lost their job. In this past 2 years, a lot has occurred. A lot of restaurants we saw had to close down and shut their doors. And he's saying that there is a glimpse at the end of the tunnel.
There really is, and it's obviously great news to know that a company like theirs was able to at least keep it afloat, get through all the various lockdown levels, out of the state of disaster as of last night, and all the best to him and the growth of his company, and hopefully there's many others as well. Nqobile Madlala on that for us. Getting reaction to the state of disaster was officially lifted as of midnight last night.